Hi, it's Bill Koenig for Straight Circle Martial Arts. This is adding more realistic movements to your kata. Bonus video this week. The reason this is a bonus video is because I'm introducing a new topic. I'm going to introduce kata. I never know how new topics are going to go, so I want to see if you guys like it or not. If it's something you do, I'll add it as a more regular feature. People misunderstand what katas are. Katas are never going to simulate a real fight. You can't simulate someone grabbing you, you can't simulate someone pushing you, you can't simulate the actual movement, which is hectic and all over the place, and never just one step to one step. It never works that way. What kata is good for is to teach you basic fundamental principles of how to turn and how to do simple things like using your hips correctly and lining everything. That being said, people take them religiously, and then they stand up too straight and they're very rigid. When I watch people do kata, often because of the way it's designed, people are very rigid, they're very stiff, and they're always like this. But if you watch real fights, it's not how they go. I mean, people are always wrestling, pushing, and your body's always being moved to a different position. It almost never looks like this all the time. So what I'm suggesting is when you get really good at your forms, they get boring because there's nothing else for you to do with them, unless you add to them. So how do you add to them? What I like to do personally, I'm just going to take a really basic form, not one of the more advanced ones. We'll start with something easy. And what I like to do is I like to add movement to my form. Let's say it starts like this. I'm going to come this way, I'm going to come in, I'm going to turn, I'm going to go like this, I'm going to come in, I'm going to go like that. That's great. But again, it doesn't teach you how to evade a move. So for me, what I like to do sometimes is when I start these things, what I'll do is I'll kick off an angle and I'll step, and then I'll just move differently, like something came that way. And then I'll come into the motion. And maybe I'll evade this way before I make the step, and then I'll come into the motion. And what I start doing is learning how to take my body from perfect stability all the time and going into the wave where it comes out of posture into posture, out of posture into posture. So most people in forms always stay in posture like this. But what you gotta learn to do is feel your center of mass. My center of mass, often when I evade or I move, has to move, which puts me out of posture, and then when you relax, it snaps back to posture. It comes out of posture, snaps back to posture. So how you practice that, how you can practice on your own is in your forms. Right? Take a form, any form you got. Take it, work yourself into a position to where you're out of posture. You know, if I'm coming this way, get used to the idea I may have to evade first before I go into something. Maybe I have to evade over this way, or I have to turn this way. See, it's not just here. I came out of form, let whatever it was go by, I evaded, came back to form, and came back. That's how you start tinkering with these things. The other thing you want to learn to add to these is your feet. Most katas, the footwork is simplistic for a reason, but it's not realistic. Because if you've ever been grabbed or pushed or thrown around, you'll find you're going to take a lot more steps than just 1, 2, 3, because that's not how it works. So what I also like to add to my forms is I'll add extra steps. So let's say I'm going into something that turns this way, and the motion's this, and then it comes into this. Well, add an extra step to it. Kick over first and step. Kick over more and step this way. Instead of just turning and going like this straight up the line, which is virtually worthless anyways. Take your time and practice. How do I evade and get back in? Evade and get back in, and add an extra step to it. Then you add the extra step and the escape, and then you come in. You add the escape, and then you come in. Again, kata is very good for teaching you the idea of how do I go hip, 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 and get that body to turn properly. But when you do it, you often lock yourself into the ground. I defy you to find a real fight where someone sits there and goes like this against an opponent. It's never going to happen. So take your time, add footwork to everything you do. Add little side steps, little shuffle steps. Add little things into them, see where you end up. Take little things that allow you to move or escape or come off balance. Change arm positions. Sometimes you want to learn to accelerate on things. Sometimes instead of just coming like this, where I lock up and load and go like this, load, bring more into it with your back foot. Kata is a basic idea to teach you some fundamentals, but after you have them down, it's your job to go into those and experiment and add and keep playing with it so it's yours and you understand how your body works. If you just keep doing the same repetitive kata over and over and over and over again, you learn very little. So go home and tinker with it. Always add, always subtract, always play, see how your body works, and they'll become much more alive for you. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave comments and ask questions. Thanks very much for helping grow the channel.